Alright guys, coming back with another video. I had someone ask me about this and I wasn't quite sure how to answer it because a lot of people have done this video before. Sort of your top 10 sort of critical changes that you should make when getting back into mountain bike in my case, or whether you've been riding for some time. So I'm going to give you my top 10 of the things that I think make sense if you're into mountain biking far more serious than just riding down like a gravel trail. Okay, so these are mine. Obviously, your bike. So I'll just show you a screenshot of my bike that's sitting downstairs. It's all nice and clean. This one is a dirty one, but this is just to give you an idea. So now I'll swing it around. I'll try not to make too many camera movements. I'm just going to put it on the desk right here. Okay, so for me, ideally, when you buy your bike, it'll come down to twofold. One, it will come with a set of pedals, or it won't come with a set of pedals. But I find that whatever pedals do come with the bike that you buy, or a basic pair of pedals, I would not go down the trail with the pedals that came with the bike when I bought it. So the first thing I recommend that is not ideally sort of my top 10 in particular is to buy yourself, in my case, a good pair of flats pedals. These are all specific to your riding style, whether you want a little bit lighter compound or a little bit more heavier compound. Especially if you're coming back to the riding after being gone for a long time like I had, I just decided that my pedals needed to be much stronger for me. So in particular, I would recommend taking off whatever stock pedals, which are normally like a hard plastic, and even if they are flats, it's only going to take one hit against something and you're going to break that pedal. They were just not very sturdy. So that was the first thing I recommend. Now, once you have your new pedals on your bike, whether they come with it or whether you purchased them, go and ride your bike around with what is currently on it. Take it down a very light trail that you're going to feel safe and confident riding down it for the first time. Once you finish that trail ride down to the bottom, you're going to discover what you're going to need to change in order to make your ride much better. So these are the ones that I particularly pick that made a difference for me. So once I purchased the pedals and I got out onto the trail, I realized one critical thing is grips. And everybody talks about grips. The ones that came stock on the bike were okay, but were almost like a hard plastic with some grip sort of thread on them. I did not find them very comfortable. I rode for about an hour when I first got the bike, and I literally came back and my hands were killing me. And I've been working with my hands for a very long time, so it was very odd to have that sort of pain in my hands and in my joints. So I recommend finding a good pair of grips, and you're going to have to probably go through at least a couple of them. Some are thin, some are thick, some have different sort of thread patterns on them. So you need to find yourself a really good pair of grips. For me, I've probably gone through 3 different pairs. I tried a thin one, which is pretty much what was on the bike before, but a little bit more of a better grip pattern on it. I find that they were not comfortable enough for me, so I ended up going to a much larger, thicker grip for me, and it seemed to work out great. And these are all specific to your budget. You can find a good one through your local bike shop. You can find them on Amazon. There's a lot of different places you can order them from. So like I said, that's my first thing, was definitely grips. As for the bike itself, I found that the saddle that came on it was not particularly comfortable for me. It was a narrow seat, and because my sit bones are a little bit wider, I ended up having to go with a wider seat. So here's a replica of the one I have on my bike right now. It's a Volt. It's a steel one, and it's wide. It just suits my sit bones. So that's another thing I would recommend, is definitely see if you're comfortable for a period of time riding your bike with the saddle that's currently on it. they are a little bit more expensive to buy. I mean, this one was probably anywhere between $40 and $60. So it's not a dramatic price, but it is an expenditure to change around. So the saddle is the other thing I recommend. In my case, I am a rider that is far more comfortable with a pair of gloves, and I do recommend for anyone that is especially getting back into mountain bike. I would initially wasn't going to wear gloves for the first couple times I rode around, but I found because I was just getting back into the sport after being gone, I was running into all kinds of things, you know, branches and weeds and all kinds of stuff that was in my way. So I just found that the gloves were just a much better option for me. Plus, it also adds, for me in particular, it added much more grip on my grips. So I just found that it was a good choice for me. Now, as it comes for the bike itself, most of the people that I talked to that recommended to me was above that, when you're actually out on the trail, you need to take several things with you, especially if you plan on going out for a further ride. If I'm just going out for a basic ride and I'm leaving my car with some basic tools in the car, locked in the trunk kind of thing, I'm going to take down the trail a very, very, very good sort of multi-tool. This is Crank Brothers. I actually like their stuff a lot. It's a good multi-kit, especially for checking your bolts and stuff like that before you set out on your ride. It has a good chain separator, so it's kind of handy that way. These can be bought for a lot of different values and dollars, so find yourself a really good one that's compact you can carry around. The second one I recommend too is another, and this is a Park Tool one. I have some basic Allen keys in there as well as in my case, I actually wanted to make sure that I actually got some clamps for changing your tire. So flats are going to have eventually at some point, so you want to make sure you have the right kind of kit with you, especially if you're going to be out for a much longer ride and you're away from any kind of tools and stuff you have. So in that case, it was very, very good to have that particular tire change. Another thing I recommend, also get yourself a decent pump. This is where I definitely did not sort of buy sort of a budget one. I did look at some cheaper ones on Amazon, and I just found that they were just not durable enough, or the air pressure that you got at them was just not good enough. So this is a specialized air pump. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies whatsoever, so I'm telling you raw facts of me actually getting back into it and what I discovered I needed. So pump is definitely what you want to do for sure. Like I said, they are budgetable, so just find whatever one works for you. And if you're trying to cut down on weight because it's a pack that you're actually going to be using to lug stuff around, then it makes sense. I'm, like I said, not sponsored by any of these guys, but I just like this pump in particular. Another thing I recommend, secondly, is make sure get yourself a spare chain. I actually just sent my bike currently in to get a full overhaul, so I had him cut the chain to length for me. I've got my adapter in there to link it together, the linkage. Highly recommend it. Always have a spare chain. And if you're going out onto the trail, you could take a spare chain with you in your pack. But if not, if you're driving around like I do with a vehicle, just throw it in the trunk. Now you know you have a chain that even if you have to walk out of the bush, at least you have a spare chain so you can continue riding. Another thing I recommend is obviously get yourself a spare tire. In my case, I'm not running tubeless, I'm running tubes. So get yourself the proper, good replacement tube. Try not to sort of cheap out on this in any way, because you may be self-reliant on this tube in order to change it out in order to get there. Like I said, it wasn't going to be a very long video, but someone had asked me what sort of changes that I had actually gone through, and obviously important enough to make sure you have a bike helmet, or whether it's a full face or half face. Make sure you have those, obviously, and then make sure you have some kind of a backpack that's light, durable, water resistant, or at least sort of water proof in some kind of way that you can put all this stuff into to make sure you carry it. Try to keep your pack light, but those are the things that I changed at a basic level when I first purchased my bike. And then when I got out onto the trail after riding for several things, I changed the fundamentals to suit me, and then realized what kind of basic kit I'd like to carry. So in most cases, if I'm riding out and though the car is close to me where I park, I'm still into the bush, I'm obviously going to take my multi-tool with me every single time. So even if I have some kind of an issue or notice something that I need to tighten up while I'm on the trail, that's a must. And they're light enough now that if you're wearing any kind of riding shorts, it's easy enough to throw it into one of the pockets, zip it up or lock it down, and now you've got something. Like I said, there's my basic overhaul of the stuff that I needed to buy and change on my bike to make it my ride that much better. Now hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Like I said before in the video, I'm not sponsored by any of these companies whatsoever. I'm just giving you a raw thing of what I had to deal with when I first got back. Cheers, guys.